Well, hello there. Hi, my name is Kristen, and tomorrow I start my preoperative diet before gastric bypass surgery. Um, it's about 6 years in the making, this surgery coming up. My case is a little different than most of the others that I've seen. I actually had a Lapband put in February of 2010. My husband was in the military, and we were stationed in Texas. And I was approved after 6 months, going through everything, meeting the requirements, doing the psychological testing, seeing the nutritionist, attending classes, going to support groups. But nobody ever asked me about my menstrual cycle. I had chosen to do the Lapband over the bypass originally. Those were the only two options actually available until this year, 2016. But I felt that the Lapband would allow me to nourish my future children better than what I had seen with the bypass, with all of the supplements and everything. So that was the route that I went. At my highest weight, I was 248 pounds. During that pre-op diet, I lost about 12 pounds. So day of surgery, I was 236. And then after 6 months, I only lost 20 pounds. This is the time that you're supposed to be, losing the most that you're supposed to. So I was sitting at 217 pounds 6 months out, and I didn't know what was happening. And so I said, hey, could there be a thyroid issue? Could there be hormone issues? Blah, blah, blah. And they did a test for my hormone levels, and it turns out I had a high testosterone level, and I was insulin resistant, even though every time I'd taken a sugar, test, I was never diabetic. I never have been diabetic. I've never had high cholesterol. Blood-wise, I'm a completely healthy person. But they did find I had high testosterone, and they diagnosed me with polycystic ovary syndrome. 1 in 8 women have it. For me, it explained my irregular menstrual cycle. It explained the Italian hairy lip. It explained my frustration my entire life with losing weight. With the insulin resistance, I can't break down any sugar, any carbohydrates, any bread, anything like that. So had I known that diagnosis when I was originally determining which procedure that I wanted, I would have gone with the gastric bypass because it is a metabolic surgery. And it helps, in those areas. You're bypassing, parts of your intestines. You're getting the benefits of the malabsorption and when you're eating 1,200 calories a day and you're not losing weight, you're really pissed off at yourself. At that time, I was working out 5-6 times a week, weights and cardio, and I was super frustrated. And so, for about 6 months, I hated myself, and I got back up to 225 pounds. I stopped getting adjustments to the lap band because what was the point? I wasn't losing. And then a year out from having the surgery, I got a personal trainer, and she was awesome. She guided me through the paleo diet. She, told me about whole foods and using your body as the way it was meant to be and things like that. And with her, I got down to 190 pounds over a year. So 30 pounds in a year and a half, that's PCOS for you. So I was 2.5 years out of the lap band surgery. I still had it inserted, and I got pregnant. And we were moving from Texas to Georgia with the military. And I said, just take everything out of my band. I want to, be able to feed this child and eat the nutritious foods that I wanted. And they said that they did. And when we got to Georgia and I had my son, who's now 2.5, they did not cover any type of adjusting with the band. They didn't do any type of weight loss surgery. The closest place I could get an adjustment or any type of bariatric help was 2.5 hours away in Atlanta. With a newborn, I couldn't do that. So I breastfed as best I could. It's really hard with polycystic ovary syndrome to breastfeed. And that's one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about, because when you're going through puberty and you've got this hormone imbalance, you actually have a hard time. You're going to have a hard time when you're breastfeeding because your mammary glands did not form the way that they were supposed to. So I did struggle. I could only feed my son exclusively for about 2 months, and then I supplemented, and then we went right to the bottle. So when he turned 1 at his birthday party, I found out I was pregnant again. It's amazing. You have a hard time getting pregnant when you have PCOS. And with my son, my first son, I went through 3 rounds on Clomid, which sucks. It puts you in kind of a premenopausal state to make you ovulate, like get rid of those eggs, get as many out there as you can. You have hot flashes, you have mood swings. And at the time I was working with young children, and I'm glad my boss knew what I was going through. So getting pregnant with my second son was actually surprising, because it took us a year of trying to get pregnant with my first son. And so I went off the mini pill when my first one was about 11 months old. And in one cycle, I got pregnant. And so if you have PCOS and you're trying to get pregnant, go on the pill for like 3 months and then get off for like 3 months. And if you don't get pregnant, go back on for 3 months. And then anyway, so my youngest is now 13 months old. So I have a 2.5-year-old and a 1-year-old. And for the past year, I've been working with doctors here in Florida. My husband is out of the active duty, but now he is in the reserve. So we still have TRICARE. And took me about 6 months to find a doctor I could work with. And I got approved to have the band removed. I had always had reflux, and I had always had the stuck sensation. And when they removed my band, guess what? The surgeon didn't place it right, and I had tons of erosion of the band, and it was around my esophagus. So obviously I never had the restriction I was supposed to. So that was an awesome discovery. And I had it taken out in November because the only way they will approve a revision surgery is if you have the first one taken out. So after turning in my medical records, fighting with my doctor's assistant because she just did not believe that it would ever get approved. It was, just never going to happen. You need to re-enter the program and do the 6 months and the evaluations and the psychiatric care and the nutritionist and blah, blah, blah. She just didn't think it would happen. And last Friday, I got approved. TRICARE fought. They fought. They did not want to approve it. In fact, the last time they sent back the doctor's notes, they said his writing was illegible, which was a pretty lame excuse. And I had told the assistant at that point, I was like, look, they have to approve it and they know they do. They're just waiting for me to give up. And they can't now. So it was approved last Friday. We had set a surgery date for the middle of this month. And my surgery date is February 17th. So I had 1 weekend left to eat the stuff that's really bad for me that I can't digest. But I'm kind of giving it a farewell party. And I start my pre-op diet tomorrow. And I see the nutritionist to talk about nutrition afterwards. Because I haven't been in the program technically. I've been seeing the surgeon. I've been going to the support group and everything, but I haven't been in the program like everybody else is because I am a strange case. So that being said, I'm going in it knowing what I knew 6 years ago. So I know that I really like the EAS carb solution shakes, and I'll have 3 or 4 of those a day. And I know I like sugar-free Jell-O, and I know that I have to drink like 100 ounces of water. And yeah, my husband is kind of a pain in the butt, and I had to make him a bunch of freezer meals. And I said, I'm only making them while I am still allowed to eat. So yesterday I made 7 freezer meals for the next 2 weeks for him and the kids. So hopefully they last more than 1 meal at a time. But I was like, I'm not cooking if I can't eat, which will have to change. That's something I'm going to have to struggle with when that time comes. But I start the diet tomorrow, so maybe I'll upload at the end of the day or after a day or two and let you know how it's going. Numbers wise, with each pregnancy, I only ever got up to 248 again. With my first pregnancy, I gained like almost 60 pounds. And then I only lost 30 pounds after he was born. And then I quickly got pregnant again. Went back up to 248, lost 30 pounds. And then in a year's time, got back up to 238. And then after this fun weekend of eating, I'm about 240. So I'll give you the real number, my pre-op diet start number tomorrow. But I'm excited to start it, and I'm excited for what lies ahead. I'm very positive that this was the way it should have been 6 years ago. And if anybody else can relate, having little ones and going through all this, I'd love to hear from you. And I'm excited to start this journey. So, peace out. We'll see you soon.